Chapter 1 Haunted. A mark of destiny. That's what Mom called the star-shaped birthmark on the inside of my left wrist. She said it was destiny's way of marking me, so the world would know to have something big planned for yours truly. I'm sure if she were still here today, she would have changed her mind and believed what I did now. My mark of destiny was more like a magnet for tragedy. Mark or magnet aside, something had led me to Corvallis, Oregon, home of Oregon State University, several days before winter quarter was scheduled to commence. I hovered beside the only remaining companion in my life, unable to muster up the courage to take my first step in this new phase of life. The monstrosity before me would be serving as home sweet home for the next 7 months, and if it had a chain-link fence topped with curls of barbed wire, it could have been mistaken for a penitentiary instead of a dorm. I took a good look at the brick-and-mortar face of the change I'd selected for myself, and an air of finality settled upon me, confirming what I'd known, but tried so hard to overcome. No matter where I went, I could never leave my past behind. It would always haunt me. With this cheery thought, I sucked in a deep breath and got after that first step. The next thing I felt was the toe of my sneaker stumble over something, as if a foretelling of what was to come, and I flailed my arms forward, preparing to break my fall. Whoa there! A set of arms reached out and stopped me before I got up close and personal with the sidewalk. Curb check! I righted myself and brushed aside the mess of hair that had fallen over my face. Thanks, I said, blowing aside the final strands. Those curbs must have some sort of vendetta against me. Not your first run-in, huh? Not the last either, I said, finally able to see who was responsible for sparing me a set of scraped palms. He was the kind of guy who would turn a lot of women's heads. He had that high school star of the football team quality, and there was something in his eyes that led me to believe he was fully aware of this. Paul Lowe, he said, extending his hand. Junior, captain of the basketball team and heroic curb slayer. I placed my hand in his, attempting to stifle my smile. Bryn Dawson, sophomore, Scrabble player extraordinaire, and thankful to the mighty curb slayer, I said with mock seriousness. Nice to meet you, Bryn. So, you're new here? My smile waned. Great. Was it that obvious? All I wanted was to fade into the crowd. That's what I'd managed to do my whole life, so why couldn't I do it now when it actually mattered to me? I'd always been that girl you could have seen at graduation and wondered if you'd gone to school with her for the past 4 years. Back then, it was a curse. Now, I craved anonymity like a socialite craved the limelight. I cleared my throat. How did you know? He raised his eyebrows. Several things tipped me off. 1, the sweet car. He began pointing his turquoise-colored eyes in the direction of my vintage Camaro. 2, the cardboard boxes in the back seat. 3, you look more lost than a Delta Gamma in a study session. And 4, he laughed a few notes and stuffed his hands in the back pockets of his jeans. Actually, I'll keep 4 to myself. The first 3 reasons should be convincing enough. Another girl throwing herself at you, Paul. A female student walked up behind him and circled her hands around his arm, giving me a look that had enough firepower behind it to decimate the campus and surrounding community. Hey, Amy, Paul said, his eyes narrowing. Who's your new friend? She asked him, while looking me over top to bottom. No attempt to disguise that she disapproved of every millimeter of my 5'10" frame. This is Bryn.